Hey, second grade. Today you're going to get back your Starry Night that we worked on. We also talked about Tim Burton and his architecture. You're also going to need to grab one little Sharpie. And if you want to do a bigger detail on your background, like my tree here, you can grab a big Sharpie as well. And at your tables, I also have these silver Sharpies. You need to make sure to share these with your neighbor. You can see that I've already added details to my background. So I'm actually going to show you how to draw these things on my white sheet of paper. You'll be working on your background though. I'm going to start off showing you how to draw a cat a couple different ways. When you start drawing these, you should use a pencil first in case you make a mistake. So cats, you can either do an oval with a circle on top. So the body and the head, give it 2 triangle ears. And then a tail. You could do kind of a scary looking cat, and it's kind of like this C that's been turned on its side, or a crescent moon, like that. You can give it a little tail. The head, once again, is a circle, and then your 2 triangle ears. And I will make sure to leave these all up on the board so you guys have something to look at. But notice how they're just pretty simple shapes. Ovals, circles, triangles, a curved line, right? A bat is a circle with 2 triangle ears. And the wing is going to come way out like this, a big C shape. Big C shape, almost like a bird. Except to make them look a little bit more like a bat, I'm going to do this little curve, like this. So big curve, little curve back in. And last but not least, I'm going to go from this point back to where it connects to my bat. So like this. So big curve, little curve, curve back to where it connects. Right? You could do a ghost if you want. Doing kind of this weird blobby shape with a couple eyes and maybe a wailing mouth. Right? After you've drawn these on your background, you're going to take that Sharpie and you're going to Sharpie them carefully. All right? Think about how big these things would be. Right? You can see that when I did my background, I made that cat really small next to the tree. All right? I wouldn't want a big, huge cat like I drew here because that cat's half the size of my tree. So you need to think about how big these things actually are. So draw them first. Then you can take a Sharpie and Sharpie them in. As I said, if you want to do something bigger like a tree, use one of the big thick Sharpies. Don't use one of these little Sharpies, okay? And the last thing we're going to do after adding those details is we're going to add some details to our house. And you're going to use the silver Sharpie for that. So you might want to add a door. A door is kind of similar to how we drew the house. We started with those 2 diagonals with that horizontal on top. That was kind of the base of our house because we want those crooked angles. I'm going to do the same with the door. I'm going to go diagonal, diagonal, then horizontal across. And I can give that a little doorknob too if I like. Maybe I want to draw a line coming down through here so it kind of separates those 2 building parts. I could do a couple windows. My windows are going to be just like my door. Notice that I'm using those 2 diagonals and then the 2 horizontals, just like my door looked. That helps give it that creepy look. I could add my roof. If you would like to add shingles, you can. I'm just going to do kind of a zigzag line, or angled line as I oftentimes call them. And last but not least, I need to do this little attic up here. You may have more rooms than me, so that means you'll have to add a few more details. An attic window is typically a circle, like this. And then it has that cross in the middle, all right? So you're drawing details in your background. Don't overdo it with the details. I also don't want to see any words. Don't put boo or anything like that because it gets to be kind of distracting from everything else in your artwork. Then you may work on your details of your house with the silver Sharpie. When these are done, we're going to put them in the drying rack as low as they can go.